Good evening. What's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm excited to be able to actually be on my schedule tonight. I'm supposed to have started the weekly lives last Tuesday, but things have been crazy, so I'm kicking things into gear tonight. Hopefully, it's possible that we get Twisted Big D logging in. Twisted Big D, if you're listening, call in here in about 10 minutes. If you could, and I'll try to rip through these lease purchase questions, comments on the YouTube video from earlier today. And then we can talk about anything and everything. We can talk about training. So Twisted Big D hopefully is going to be able to call in. I sent him a link. We'll see how that goes. We've not already set that up, so I'm not sure how well it's going to go trying to patch him in while we're live, but we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. So as everyone saw, especially the replay gang, I already have a video up on the channel about the lease purchase returning, and that video has been going crazy. I've been getting text messages. I have all kinds of incoming flack. There's people who are mad at me for putting the information out there, which is kind of crazy to me because it's not like it's not known. It's not like it's a hidden secret, right? I mean, especially in our Discord. I mean, this has been talked about in our Discord for seems like weeks now. So it's not like I'm giving out trade secrets or anything. But yeah, there's some people mad that I put a video out about it, and there's some people super happy that I put a video out about it. And so it struck a nerve, and I can understand why. Lease purchase with Prime Inc. is, to me, one of the most valuable tools and the most valuable things that Prime has to offer. There's a lot of great things that Prime offers, of course, but I think the lease purchase is probably one of the biggest things. So anyway, for those who don't know, my name is Eric Odom. I run a small fleet of trucks pulling Prime Inc. freight. This is the driver lineup channel. I changed it to a Drive to Thrive because eventually I'm going to be doing a little bit of an interview show here that is also going to cross-pollinate with the podcast Driver Hub, which is on all the podcast apps. I haven't done a podcast in like forever, but that's going to be kicking up here in the next few weeks when I get back from Springfield, and I'm going to be covering things more outside of me driving the truck, which was the first couple years of being on YouTube. So anyway, let me jump over here to comments on that video today, and I'm going to try to address as many of the comments as quickly as possible because we got Twisted Big D coming on, you guys. Hopefully if he can make the interview link work. I just sent it to him like 2 minutes before I went live, so he may not be able to get it up there, but let's see. So in an overview real quick though, it is currently, this could change, but it is currently the case that the lease purchase, the Ace 2 lease, is coming back to Prime Inc. It was paused because of the difficulty of getting trucks. And there were some, I did a video about this a few months ago as well. Some of the problems that Prime was having is that those doing the lease to purchase, or whatever you want to call it. I call it lease purchase. Someone gave me some shit in comments, say whatever. Lease purchase is what I call it. It's not that I'm trying to assert that it's anything that it's not. It's just easier for me to say. But they paused it because at the end of 3 years, a lot of drivers were taking their trucks to other carriers or running them on a spot market, etc. Prime is having such a difficulty getting trucks right now that they need these trucks to stay under their authority and run freight for them for as long as possible. So they're trying to find ways to extend that to 4 years, and thus they couldn't. They had to put a pause on it. Hang on just a second here. Fallback code. Don't know what that means. Let me address Twisted Big D. See if let me see here. Hold on, man. I'm gonna see if I can get this. Oh, there he goes. Oh, we're gonna see if we can patch him in real quick. There he is. What up, dude? Let me hold on. Can you hear me, man? I can't hear you. Can't hear you. So for some reason you're muted. Your mic is muted. I'll see if I'm going to carry through this, and let me jump back to him. I do have his picture in here. I'll show you guys. I have his picture in here. So we're getting somewhere. That's right. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Try now. Say something.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
I tried
We're
to
good.
get it to work on the computer. I couldn't get it to work on the computer, so.
Okay, well, here we go. Well, thanks for joining. I'm going to jump back to the main screen here for just a minute, rip through some of these questions real quick, and then let's talk Prime. You good with that? Awesome. All right, I'll be
Good
right
with
back.
it.
Okay, so they had to put a pause on it, and a lot of people were upset. But look, if you're Prime and you're in this situation that they're in, like, they got to do what they got to do, man. And I don't fault them at all for it. Look, I want to order more trucks. Jenna yesterday was literally like, "Hey, are you really sitting there trying to order a new?" I was trying to order a new truck yesterday. So I'm with a lot of you. I wanted to order new trucks, but the truth is Prime has to keep these trucks in the fleet as long as possible because manufacturers are just not pumping out the trucks that they originally committed to. So I don't fault them at all, but that's why they paused it. It's not some big conspiracy. It's not Rob Lowe doesn't want you to own trucks or anything like that. Some of the crazy stuff you see out there on the internet, it's just as simple as Prime needing to keep trucks in the fleet as long as possible because it just can't get more trucks. And we all want Prime to run as much freight as it can, to honor as many obligations as it can, because that's good for all of us. So that's the situation. But as it was confirmed to me on the phone this morning, as of now, and today is August 9th, the lease purchase, the lease to purchase, the ACE 2, whatever the hell you want to call it, is coming back. An announcement is expected end of September, early October. And there's a couple things, and I mentioned this in the overview video. There's a couple things to note, and that is that it sounds like, and none of this is set in stone, none of this has been officially announced. So this is just what I was able to ascertain as to this is what I was able to ascertain as to what the situation was. You're only going to be able to order one truck, so you can't have multiple trucks in order. So you can't like order three right now. If you order one and it comes in 5 or 6 months, then you can go and try to order another one. You can't order multiples. I think it's probably only going to be Freightliners, and it'll be the 2024 model. That part was said. It was said to me that it would be the 2024s. It's likely that the pricing structure is going to change. And it feels to me like they're probably going to do something like the 4-year finance option, not a 3-year finance option. And that's a way that they can address that. So, but super exciting, you guys. Like I said at the beginning, I think that the lease purchase is one of the most attractive things that Prime has to offer. It's been, look, I was looking on Pedigree's website today. They've got 600,000 mile internationals selling right now for 82 grand. So, my Peterbilt gets paid off next year, and then I've got a Freightliner getting paid off the next year and a Freightliner the next year, and then I'm going to order one as soon as I can. You do the math, the fact that the truck is paying for itself and making you money for the entire time that you're running it, and then you can run it for 6 months with no payment. That's 30 grand, right? And then sell it for $80,000. You're making $110,000 after the entire time that the truck made you money. It's an amazing program, and I love it. Super excited about it. So if you guys have questions, drop them in the comments. I just want to browse through real quick, and then I want to get to Twisted Big D. I'm super excited that he jumped on. 10 Count Stories says, the longer Success Leasing pauses the program, the more pent-up demand will be when the program opens. That's true. Let's see. Does Prime take no experienced drivers fresh from CDL school? Also, is there any way I could have a direct contact? Okay, that's not about the lease purchase, but yes, they do. I'm trying. There was a couple of really good questions in here. I want to make sure that I didn't miss. So bear with me. Someone asked it said it would be nice if Lease Purchase had more than 3 truck models to order from, like 389s, 579s, T680s, Volvos, Mack Anthems, Freightliner, Western Stars. Okay, here's the thing though. If Prime were able to do that, and there's a lot of reasons that they're not going to, a lot. Like I could probably sit here for 30 minutes and give you a list of reasons that they're not going to do that. But they need to buy in bulk very limited models to give us the pricing that we want and to get the pricing that they want and need. But there's a lot of other reasons too. They need trucks that are very spec'd out to get the fuel that they want. And, there's a lot of reasons for that. But if they offered us 10 different trucks, they're not buying in bulk the limited number that they need, and we're not getting as good pricing. But there's a whole lot more reasons for that. You're not going to see a lot of different models. And I think if you did see a lot of different models, it would not be as good of a deal for us. Let's see. Let's roughly have your regular want to run miles, blah, blah, blah. It's Prime. Let's see. Can you do a video on fleet truck profit breakdown? No, I cannot. And here's why. And believe me, I want to. It's not that I want to keep you all from knowing how well my fleet is doing, but if I do a video on my profit breakdown, then you know what my drivers are being paid, and that's no one's business. So it's just kind of, it's a good thing for them, but it's a bummer as a YouTuber because I want to put it out there, but I'm not going to do that to them. Let's see. Isn't it technically called lease to purchase, meaning you're leasing a truck for 3? Well, yeah, technically lease to purchase. Fine. And don't forget it requires a balloon payment. Yeah, but the balloon payment's like $100, you guys. I did a video on that too. Like I see that on the internet too, with people saying, "Oh, Prime's going to screw you with the balloon payment." You guys realize the balloon payment is $100. Oh boy. I thought that it's okay. I can't find all these questions, so I'm just going to jump over to the live questions. Chris Lambert would be a nightmare for. Well, actually, let me bring Twisted Big D. If you want to try to call back in, I'm ready for you. Chris Lambert would be a nightmare for maintenance too, with all different models of the truck. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. I mean, but again, that's why there's many reasons why they're not going to have a lot of models, but that's a great point. Chris Lambert's talking about how to be a nightmare to service that many models. Yes, because right now, let me see if I can get him in here. Twisted Big D. Because right now, Twisted Big D, I don't see you, but I see that you called in. We're gonna struggle through this, and we're gonna get him on here, you guys. Just hang tight. But if you go to the shop at Prime, like they're basically set up to service the Peterbilt 579, right? The Freightliner Cascadia and the International, and I think they can do some work on Volvos, but they're set up for that. So it just gets more complex to try and deal with a lot more models. Okay, I can see you. Let's see if I can hear you. I can see you.
Yeah.
There you are. All right. So because you were able to call in, I tried to breeze through. I wanted to talk a lot more about that, but I'm super excited. I think this might be the first time you've been on this channel.
Yeah, it is. I've never been on your channel before.
That's awesome.
Been subscribed for a long time.
Yeah, it's it's good to have you here, and thanks for jumping in on short notice. Hopefully this holds the connection holds and you can stay on. But I guess we could start out. I'd love to get your opinion. I know you're a company guy right now, but I'd love to get your opinion on Lease Purchase. I mean, do you agree that that's a great attractant to Prime Inc. And am I missing anything that you know of?
No, it's great. It gives people more options at Prime, and that's the main thing with it because a lot of people are looking to buy their own truck and purchase it, and that's just another step in the process. So I think that purchase is a great thing to have, and I'm glad that they got it back and running because people really, really want to start their own companies and buy multiple trucks. I mean, like you do, a lot of people are modeling themselves after what you're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I remember being terrified to go lease purchase on my first truck, and then after that, I was like, oh my god, this is to me, if you're really looking to build a long term business, you need to take a serious and you're leasing. There's a lot of reasons to be a company driver. Good reason, a lot of really good reasons. In fact, I told you guys the other day that both my drivers, they're company drivers, and they make the same amount of money as company drivers that I made the first year leasing. So if we all go out there talking shit about company drivers, my company drivers are doing just as good as I did leasing. So there's great opportunity all around with Prime. But if you're going straight lease and you're looking to build a long-term business, give serious consideration to lease purchase. Do not be afraid of it. But anyway,
Yeah,
go ahead.
you might as well go ahead and like if you're gonna lease, you might as well go ahead and lease purchase because that way at the end of the lease you get the truck. I mean, to me, I think that that's a lot better than just doing a straight lease, in my opinion, because at the end of the straight lease, you don't get to keep the truck. You get that lease completion bonus, which is your money that you paid into a fund that you're getting back at the end of it. But to me, I think that it's better to get your own truck because you can go and resell the truck if you don't want it and then order you another one. Bring
Yeah,
down the payments.
absolutely. And I think I mentioned in the video I did today that now Jen and I, because we were a married team truck, we could take more time off than most. Right? You're not going to be able to. Oh, we lost him again. You're not going to be. He'll probably call back in. I don't know what's going on with this connection, you guys. It's a struggle sometimes. But we took a little bit more home time than most people take, and when I started calculating my payments that I was making while I was home, that's where I was like, okay, I'm just paying way too much money, and at least if I'm paying for an asset, paying for the truck during that time, that I don't feel so bad about making those payments. So, but yeah, totally agree. So, by the way, Twisted Big D's having some difficulty with the connection. Sorry about that, but it's all right. We'll make this work. But if you guys haven't followed Twisted Big D, I'll put the link down below, especially for the replay gang. But if there's anyone here who isn't familiar with your channel, real quick, who are you? What do you do? What's your channel all about?
I'm Twisted Big D, and I'm an instructor for Prime, if some of y'all don't know. And I like to give out good information on Prime and different trucking companies. Like, I'm not trying to talk anyone into coming to Prime. I'm trying to get you to get a good knowledge of what you're getting into and making a good decision about how you get your CDL. So, it's just a little bit about that. Like maybe I'll do videos on home time and stuff like that. The realities of being over the road, I think that is more realistic than a lot of people that are just throwing like dollar signs at you and stuff. I think it's more informative, kind of like Driver Lineup's channel, or I mean, Drive to Thrive. I'm not used to calling it that, but I'm trying to get used to it.
Driver lineup works too. So, a little side note. It looks to me like you invest in shoes the way I invest in NFTs. Is that true?
A little bit.
That's funny.
I've been slowing down. I had an addiction for a while, and I've been slowing down. So I've been trying to slow down. But I'm curious about the NFT things. Really, I'm like I was looking into it, trying to figure it out, and it's pretty much like you're just buying like artwork, kind of digital artwork is what I understand of it.
Yeah, man,
But
it's
I'm trying to
crazy.
figure it out.
It's crazy. I need to do a live on it soon. I want to do it soon, but I've got NFTs right now that are worth $7,000, $8,000. I mean, it's just bonkers. the NFT world. We were laughing about it on Discord today. I have these NFTs of apes. I actually have one printed out that's right up to my right here. That one's worth about $5,500 right now. So it's just crazy the money that can be made in NFTs, and they're not anything. There's nothing tangible or real about it. But NFTs are kind of, to me, they're like craps in a casino, where it's all gambling, but everybody's either winning or losing together. So it kind of has that crowd vibe with it, where you're all kind of like just throwing money and hoping to win or lose together. Wait, I got to do a video about that. But so anyway, Twisted Big D is the channel. You guys check them out. And you're making them? What's that? Do I make NFTs?
You're making them too?
I do make it. Yep. I have a project. My project, we've sold $550,000 worth of NFTs in 3 months, 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
that's impressive.
I'm getting in fact, this logo on my hat is Cardano, which is the blockchain that I'm developing on. We've got a stake pool with 2.7 million ADA, which is roughly $1.5 million US dollars worth of ADA that's staked to that pool. So it's creating blocks for the blockchain and helping contribute to decentralization and security. So it's crazy that a year ago we were driving a truck, and now I'm like actually developing for blockchains, but anyway, that's a video in and of itself. So
that's awesome though. Like I'm just the dumb truck driver. I'm just like, I know how to turn the steering wheel. Like, I'm all confused about that. The only reason I started looking up that stuff is because I was watching you talk about it, and then I was getting on your channel, and I was like, okay, I'm in over my head. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
buying digital art.
It takes some time, and I get this question all the time. Hey, how can I, figure out how to flip NFTs? And it's like, man, you gotta understand that I was living and breathing, just studying NFTs and stuff like that for the last 4 months that I was driving a truck. All night long, I was listening to podcasts and listening to videos while I was driving, just trying. So it's not something you can just jump into and the next day have a full. It's deep. You really got to get plugged in and know which projects to watch and when to buy certain things. It's one of the best things you can do with NFTs is find a good project that's getting ready to mint. In other words, its art is not already out there, and go mint it, because when you mint it, you're getting it at the super cheap price. You can mint things for like $15-$20. And if you get the right art out of that mint, it could be worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000. So you just got to kind of learn which projects to mint into at what time. And, but anyway, yeah, I'm going to do a video about that.
You got to be careful too. You got to be careful too, because now that it's like any artist, once they die, their art goes up. So, you got to be careful with yourself. Somebody might buy a lot of your artwork and then take care of you and make a million
off me. So their art becomes worth more. That's funny. So, you were trainer of the year. Was it last year or the year before?
2020.
2020. Okay. So man, I have mad respect for you guys, because I tell you what, I was out there on the pad with 2 PSD students over the last 7 or 8 months, and that is something else, just the physical beating. I don't think most people realize when you're doing PSD training and you've got to stand out there on that pad for 3 or 4 days, be it in the middle of the winter or the middle of the summer. Doesn't matter. Just the standing out there working the driver through it. You can't just go set yourself in a comfortable chair and not pay attention to anything. You got to be actively involved because you want your student to pass. So my hat is off to you guys who really grind out there, because it's hard work. But what do you think is, there's a lot of trucking schools out there. But I love that, because I went through Prime's PSD program and TNT program. I got my CDL through Prime. And while there's a lot of things that I didn't like, there were some complaints I could have about my training. What I can say is that PSD properly prepared me for passing my CDL test, which I trifected, and TNT prepared me to have the knowledge that I needed to go out there and build my business and be successful. And those are the only two things that I could, really at the end of the day, that was my expectation. I had low expectations. I thought that it was going to be sucky. I had to leave my wife at home, so to me, it wasn't going to be a ride in the park. But those were my two expectations, and Prime went above and beyond in exceeding those two expectations. What would you say to someone who's considering getting into trucking and considering going through Prime's training program?
Well, first, before you even like say, hey, I'm going to get my CDL and you're like about to apply, I think that it starts right there. You need to do research and see if you can live in this environment and see if you can deal with being away from your family as this amount of time. It's not for everybody, and it is super hard if you have a family. And I've had lots of struggle out there missing my family and stuff before I started doing what I'm doing now. And I think that that's going to be one of the main things that you need to do is right when you start considering it, start looking at that. Next, start doing research on different companies and schools and find out what works for you. Some people are great with like have the extra money to pay for that CDL school. Make sure you research that CDL school and make sure that they're going to give you the skills that you need and maybe even have a job lined up for you. If you don't have the money, then it's time to look into these bigger schools like Prime and different companies like that. Make sure that you got all of your information too. Make sure you got some W-2s. Make sure that you have like all of your information has to be correct. Make sure you have all the driver's license numbers that you used in like the last, I think it's 5 years. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this whenever you come to Prime. You've got to make sure all your ducks are in the row that they need to be in, because once you get here, they're going to go through all of your stuff and you need to have everything backed up. Like bring a lot of information with you. It's better to bring too much information than not enough. And I think that Prime's, to me, I'm biased. I work at Prime. Like I love the company. So like, I'm going to tell you, hey, go with Prime, but I'm not going to make that decision for you. So I'm telling you right now, do your research, check out all the companies. They all have good and bad mega carriers. There's a whole bunch of different companies you can go with. And at the end of the day, with a mega carrier, you're like guaranteed to have a job after the training. That's one of the big advantages at Prime is once you pass your CDL test, you have a job. You're hired that day. So that's the cool thing about Prime. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, you're real quick. I gotta give some shout outs here. Dark Rosario and JDQ. Thank you guys for the super chats. Junior Honduras popping in. What's up, man? Dreadnought, haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for stopping in. Trucker Rob, what's going on, man? Kenworth Rider, Jerry Garcia Transport, a whole bunch. John St. Clair, Ray, what's up? 404 Trucker Dave. Really appreciate you guys jumping in. Fuzzy 212. Good seeing all of you. Loving this. So yeah, what you just mentioned is so true. That was one of my reasons for choosing Prime was the insulation against economic downturns. That was really important to me. And right after I joined Prime, who was the company that like all their trucks were abandoned? They weren't like a mega, but you know who I'm talking about, right?
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Someone will tell us in comments, but they basically cut off everyone's fuel cards and left everyone stranded because they didn't have the infrastructure and the contracts to weather the storm. And Rob Lowe and Prime Inc. have been facilitating and strengthening these contracts with big companies. And you're talking Sara Lee, Tyson, all the protein. These are big contracts that are not going anywhere. And that was really important to me is, hey, when we can't afford to buy TVs, what are we buying? And that's steak, hamburgers, cereal, things to feed our kids. And that is what Prime's bread and butter is perishable. It's refrigerated freight. So that insulation from economic downturns is important. What's that?
And if we need to, we can just turn our reefer into a dry bulk trailer too, if we needed to run some stuff like that. So We always got that going for us too. But you're exactly right. The job security is here.
Yeah.
The job security is here.
Yep. You get through training with Prime, and like you said, you've got a job as long as you know show up on time, be a responsible adult, don't hit shit too many times. I've never hit anything, but I know Prime's a little forgiving. I won't go into that too much, but don't hit shit too many times. You've got a job. Celadon, there it is. Yeah, Tad Dillard,
Celadon.
Celadon. Yeah, it's funny. Jen and I, right when that Celadon shit was going down, Kenworth Ryder said it too. Morgan, okay, a bunch of you jumped in there. Ray, sorry I missed all those comments. But yeah, Jen and I were seeing trailers all over the place too. Like, in fact, we were seeing Celadon trailers like 2-3 months after all that went down, still sitting at truck stops. So that was a nightmare. But that's just one of those examples of companies that don't have that insulation against economic downturns that Prime has. And so job security was huge for me. So, I was 100% confident that I was going to get my CDL. Might have been painful. It fortunately wasn't. 100% confident I was going to get my CDL. 100% confident that Prime's TNT program was going to give me the knowledge I needed to go out on my own. And those two things were met. And then I believed that the freight, the contracts, the job security was going to be there so that I wasn't out trying to find a place to drive a year or two into it. And all those things have been met and exceeded, by more than I ever could have imagined.
One of the things that I learned with Celadon too is do not put your entire paycheck on your Prime card, because I was looking at the stories that these guys were telling, and they were talking about how they had their entire paychecks that they would get, like their ID card for Celadon was how they used for a bank account. So it had lots of money, and whenever they closed down, those cards were no good. So I don't know if they got their money after all or not, but that's kind of scary. So now that with Prime, I'm making sure, like, I've always had direct deposit, but I try to tell all my students, hey, don't use this as a bank account. Make sure that you get some direct deposits set up, because I would hate for that to happen to you. I'm not saying Prime's going nowhere, but just in case.
Absolutely. Let's see. Kenworth, Eric Deering, PSD, a Mustang tried to take me out. Truck one. Ouch. That's not fun. Let's see. Don't get too many criticals. I know a guy that got fired for that reason. Yeah. Let's see. Always put out great information, Eric. Thank you. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss any comments. If you guys have comments for Twisted Big D about training or anything like that, feel free to jump in there. Chris Lambert says, I still see them at the drop yard in Port Newark, New Jersey. Oh, still seeing Celadon trailers. Still to this day, huh? That's crazy. They were, weren't they dry freight?
I think they were.
Dry trailers, yeah. Use it for like $50 to $100 in direct deposit, everything else. Yeah, Chris Lambert, that's what I do. My settlements I don't have direct deposit. My settlements all go through Comdata, but I do transfer it out pretty much that night. So, yeah.
You don't leave it.
Yeah. What does new payment look like on these? Okay, Michael Page, getting back to lease purchase. We don't know. I'm going to assume, well, here's the thing. And this is just an assumption. My guess is the payment's going to be pretty close to the payment on the 3-year if they provide the 4-year only, but the truck is going to be more expensive. So because they're spreading the payments, probably, again, they haven't released these details, but I was left with the impression that you're going to have a 4-year commitment instead of a 3-year commitment, and the truck is going to cost more. So my guess is the payment's going to be pretty close because they're spread out over 4 years versus 3 years. But as I said in Discord today, I was looking at a Peterbilt 579 just for price comparisons here in San Antonio. Brand new Peterbilt 579 is listed for $225,000 right now. That's without an APU. So even if Prime, now my 3 trucks I got for 161, 162, so I was very fortunate. But even if they're selling them for 200,000 with an APU, it's crazy competitive. Um,
How much
so
is the APU?
APU is like 15 grand, dude. They're like
15 grand.
$15,000. Yeah. So
Ooh, thank God I'm company.
yeah. So if you were to go buy it, because I see this on the internet all the time, Prime's ripping people off with these lease purchases. Okay, so we do have a 10% finance charge, but you're going to be paying, if you get a good rate financing through to a dealership, you're going to be paying 7 to 8% probably on your interest, but you're going to pay 225 plus the 15,000 plus the 7 or 8%. So you're at well over $250,000 for a truck that Prime is, probably going to sell us for about 200,000 with the APU included. So for those of you on the replay gang that hate Prime, you're talking out of your ass when you're saying that Prime is ripping off people through lease purchase. The lease purchase is a great deal. It's extremely competitive. John St. Clair, is a walkaway lease still available? Well, both the leases, the ACE 2 lease purchase and the standard lease are walkaway leases. Now, once you do a lease purchase, you cannot go do a standard lease, if that makes sense. So once you start buying trucks to the ACE 2 or lease purchase, you can't go add the standard walkaway lease. But I could walk away from all my trucks right now and have no penalty. So both types of leases that Prime offers are walkaway. Let's see here. Don't see any other questions there. Got to jump out, guys. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate you jumping in. Ask Joe about that incident. May do that.
And then the ACE lease, you can, if you want to take your truck and just leave Prime with it, I'm sure like there's a lot of people that do that too. So like if instead of walking away from all 3 of your trucks, you could say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to take my trucks with me and still pay them, right?
Yes, but you have to go to a carrier that will pay Prime, that will pay Success Leasing directly. So,
okay.
Because Success Leasing won't let you just make the payment out of your own bank account. You'd have to go to like a Landstar or a carrier that will put that payment in their settlement structure. So there's some hoops to jump through, and you can also go get third-party financing like Ross Johnson did. Johnson's Logic, he went and got a loan to buy his out and took the truck with him, which is a great option if you have the credit to get that kind of financing, because his payment probably went to the floor. His payment, I don't know, and if I did know, I wouldn't tell you, but just guessing, it's probably a couple $100 a week for his truck payment. And then he can do whatever the hell he wants because he's got a bank that financed the buyout. So there's a lot of options. You're not, the whole idea that the internet seems to have stuck in its head because of idiots out there is that Prime's trapping us all in shitty situations. Nobody at Prime is being trapped in any shitty situation. Company drivers aren't forced to stay company. You can jump to lease at any time, or they can just leave Prime altogether. There's no, other than your first year commitment to pay off your trucking school. That would be the one thing, but you sign and agree to that. That from the very beginning. That's not some hidden clause. But in standard leases and lease purchase, there's no trap. You're not you're not locked into anything. Now, if you get into a situation, your truck's constantly going into the shop and you're getting towed and you're getting screwed for 3 or 4 weeks, man, that's life. Shit happens, and I've been there, and it sucks. But you can't say Prime, screwed me over on this situation. Prime's, it's manufacturers. Prime is in fights with manufacturers all the time, and we all have the same odds of shit going sideways with our trucks. It's a roll of the dice. But at the end of the day, there's nothing unfair.
It's
You're
the
not being,
risk you take when you go lease. That's the risk you take. It's sometimes it's going to go in the shop. It's like when people always ask me, "Hey, what kind of truck do you want to buy?" I tell them I want the brand that just doesn't break down. Like if you give me a truck, I don't care if it's international, whatever. Just give me the one that doesn't break down. Like simple as that.
yeah,
And
it's
that's
fun.
what people run into is trucks break down. There's all this new technology in them. So like with new technology, there's new problems, unfortunately. And when you get a brand new truck, you think that it has no problems. I'm telling you, one thing I do with my new truck is I'll have all those dash lights on. I'm not taking it to the shop. I'm gonna go run a load with it and let half of those lights go out. And then I'm just gonna deal with the ones that are still on because it has to work some of the kinks out. Sometimes just driving that sucker, it'll work out some of the
Oh
kinks.
man.
you know, I mean, sometimes I turn it off and
Subscribe
back
for
on
more
and get rid of
tips
some
from
lights.
subscribe for more tips. Send it. So let's see hot seats. You just lose your deposit. Yes, that is true. That is true. You lose your deposit if you walk away from a lease purchase. That is 100% true. But that's the case for a standard lease too. You lose all the investment you made in, if you're buying a $2,000 and $3,000 seat and visor and all that stuff. You're losing that money too. So yes, there are some things that you're
I
going to
get me some
lose.
wrenches and I get my visor and my seat I
You
paid
do,
for. I'll tell you
strip it.
that.
You leave it on blocks.
Yeah.
Any big news drop on this subject? Yeah, Tanker Yanker Trucking LLC. Well, at the very beginning, yes. Look, it's not like I said at the beginning. This is not breaking news. I don't know why I got some text messages today telling me I shouldn't be talking about it coming back. I don't know what the hell people are talking about. This is not breaking news. That the lease purchase, the intention. Look, I was told point blank today by someone who would know that Rob Lowe personally wants the program to come back, and they're just trying to find the best way to bring it back. So if you all see something out there that they don't want to let us buy trucks and they don't want us talking about it, that is not true. Prime is just trying to find the best way forward on it to make sure that the trucks run freight for them as long as possible, and nobody should be faulting for them for that.
And the problem was a shortage of trucks. It wasn't even that there was an issue with the program. I feel like it was
Yeah,
more like it was taking forever for somebody to order a truck and get the truck in. It was taking too long. And that was what was going on. There was a big problem with the shortage on trucks and stuff. So they kind of were all like, look, we got to have at least some company trucks here to keep us, floating over here.
absolutely. And they've got the 10% finance charge, and they're marking the trucks up from what they get them from dealerships anyway. So Prime is, you cannot say that Prime does not know how to make money. So the lease purchase program to them is profitable too. So if you're hearing, well, they're just being greedy, that's silly. They're Prime has structure to make money on all their programs, whether it's company, standard lease purchase. Like Big D just said, it was simply a matter of making sure that they're able to have trucks running under their authority and their freight for as long as possible, and minimizing the loss of trucks at the 3-year point. Which when I first came to Prime 3.5 years ago, 3 years was like that was the nail in the coffin for most of Prime's trucks. They wanted them out at 3 years. But now they got to run them 4 and 5 years just because they have no choice.
They tell me when my light turns red over there, I need to stop talking. You see that? Who said that?
It's funny. So it'd be funny if you had like a button on YouTube where someone could hit the green and hit
Yeah.
the blue.
Hit the red and say, "Hey, I got a question. You read this question now." Yeah. And Rob Lowe said, at one of the first safety meetings I ever went to, Rob Lowe said, "In this company, you can make as much money as you want or as little as you want. If you want to be a company driver and make a paycheck every week, a guaranteed paycheck, and whatever miles you run, you get paid for, then do that. If you want to go lease and make as much as you can off of revenue, do that. And if you want to have your own fleet and run your own fleet, then, more power to you. Just keep pulling my trailers. That's what he said. And I have not ever felt like that there was a way that I was not making money.
Is it true? Are you referencing the time? Like, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that he one time came into a meeting and dumped just a big ass pile of money on a table and said, you can have as much of this as you can earn. Do you know if that's true? Or, I mean,
I wasn't there for that.
I feel like that's
I could
his
see it.
attitude though. Because if
Yeah.
you're earning, he's earning, right? So, yeah, that's one of the things that I've always loved about Prime is I feel like everybody understands that concept that yes, Rob Lowe is making a boatload of money, but if he's making money, that means we're all making money. And if we're all making money, he's all, like if someone's making money in a shop or if someone's making money in a
Scratch your
training
back, you
department,
scratch mine.
yeah, absolutely. Everybody is making money because of what everybody does. And it's the people cleaning showers. It's people serving food. It's people giving you your CBTs, setting up your CBTs on a computer. It wouldn't work without everybody. And everybody understands they have a role in this machine that gets him his Maserati and gets us to where we want to go in our lives, So it's a really cool vibe when you let your mind go there. Let's see.
The guy's an entrepreneur because like he even took like how much am I losing on recycling these tires? I'm paying for these tires to be recycled. How much is that? And what do they do with them? And look, boom, we got EcoShred now. So companies pay us to haul off those tires. And what do? We take them and we shred them and we take all the metal out. We recycle the metal, so we make money there. And we turn it all into mulch. And guess what? We're making money selling mulch. So, I mean, like, it's just awesome to see that he was all like, man, I'm spending money and getting these tires shred. How am I going to make my money back? And he said, you know what? Let's try this out. And EcoShred's doing great over there. Like, the other day I was in there and I saw some artificial grass that they're making and stuff. I'm all like, whoa.
That's
like
awesome.
Mind blown.
I remember
got it around my pool outside.
The first time I ever stepped on that stuff at the terminal, I thought it was like, going to be a rocky, your foot just sinks in it. Stuff's awesome.
I always thought they melted it. I thought that it was melted and dripped out and it was formed that shape. But they just keep on compressing it till it tears up like that.
It's awesome.
Smaller and smaller, smashing it.
Let's see. Part-time trucking says Big D is right. The light goes off after a while most of the time. If it's not a red light, I keep going. John, until today I didn't know it went away, but I'm not even a trucker. The lease purchase went away. Okay. Let's see. How do you pronounce that word, Reverend? I'm not sure which word you're talking about. Prime wouldn't have 3 main terminals, all there are many terminals and yards, 9,000 trucks, and who knows how many trailers if they weren't making money. Yeah, man. Prime's look, it's over $2 billion in revenue annually. So you got some job security there. That's not what someone's making. I'm just talking about their total annual revenue. That's a lot of money. Kenworth, the Little Terrace.
And they even expanded the yard. Like, were you here before they built all the new part of the yard where they tore up the old pad and expanded it? Were you here before that?
I came right after that.
Oh, man. Whenever they expanded it, they said, we're going to have so much more room. Like, we're going to have empty spots all over for trailers. Well, whenever they expanded it and it was finally expanded, we moved everything around, and guess what? We filled up that yard, and we already outgrew it by the time it was built. So, we are rapidly growing every day.
Yeah. Reverend, I have to read your comment because I can sense some sarcasm here. At the end of the day, despite any shortcomings that Prime might have, at least the sales department can easily be reached and never makes mistakes. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, weekend and night dispatch are the best dispatchers we got too.
Let's see, John, forgive my ignorance. Can anyone tell me what a jar operator makes under their own authority? No idea. What kind of chatter are you hearing about AB5 at Prime? Um, well, AB5 doesn't really affect Prime because we don't have lease operators out of California. Um, so
We stopped that whenever it was in the works. So like they stopped that a while back to get ahead of
preemptively,
that. So once it
yeah.
went, pretty much once it took effect, we were ready for it.
Now, but you can still go company out of California, right?
Yes, we
Okay.
still have company drivers.
Let's see. Reverend's trying to answer a question there, John. John St. Clair, didn't Rob Lowe almost lose his car trying to keep the company afloat? Well, he's got an amazing story. I mean, there's like bankruptcy. Like there's been, as is the case with a lot of major companies, he knows what it's like to be eating top ramen. Um, so yeah, he like Prime is. There was a time where its drivers, I think, were like taking no pay for a certain amount of time voluntarily to help it just survive.
Yeah,
And they were able to turn
we're
it
the
around. And
new Prime Inc.
yeah, we're the new
We're the
Prime
new
Inc.
Prime Inc.
Yep. Prime also is not publicly traded, which is a good thing. Totally agree with that. Walex, I'm not sure how you're, but yeah, absolutely agree with that. I've talked about that before on the channel. Publicly traded trucking companies cannot innovate and think ahead the way that Prime can, because Rob Lowe, like Twisted Big D was mentioning with the tire, what is it called,
Eco Thread.
Eco Shred, and the different technologies that Prime, whether you hate super wides or whatever, he doesn't have to say this decision has to make us money tomorrow. He can say we're going to try this technology or try this to save fuel, and we'll see that savings 2 or 3 years from now, because he doesn't have shareholders in the stock market saying, hey, we want money now. He doesn't have to make short-sighted, stupid decisions. He can look down the path and make decisions that help us as a company, as drivers, long term, because he only answers to himself. He doesn't answer to the stock market or to shareholders. So I totally agree that it's a good thing it's not publicly traded. Skulator, hi Eric, how's it going? Good seeing you, man. Reverend, public trade equals investors first, not drivers. Yeah, exactly. Isaac's dad, I'm from Cali, and we have 3 other drivers in our class, but we're all talking about leaving the state so we can go lease. Well, there's a lot of reasons to leave California. And that's one of
Yeah,
them.
that's just one of the many.
Yeah. John, thanks, Rev. Okay, so we're caught up on comments. What are we at here? 53 minutes. So we got about 7 minutes. If you guys have questions about training or new to Prime, be sure and dump them in here in the next couple minutes for Twisted Big D. And any questions about lease purchase, I'm linking for the replay gang. The video that I did today is much more in depth. I just breezed through it before this video because Twisted Big D was able to jump on tonight. And I didn't want to waste too much of that time since he was going to join me. But definitely click the link
Yeah,
down below to get the overview.
I'm on quarantine. I ain't doing nothing else.
You have COVID
One
again?
of my students had COVID,
Oh,
which I'm completely well, but I'm on quarantine. I ain't doing nothing else.
so how many times have you had COVID now?
I've had COVID once,
Just once?
and
Okay.
this is the second time I've been quarantined, so it's not fun.
Well,
Unfortunately, my student ended up with COVID. I feel bad for him, and he's doing better. I've been hitting him up every day, but my other 3 students, because I got 4 right now, my other 3 students, they can't really do nothing. 2 of them are under quarantine with me. Like we're all 3 of us are down for 5 days. The guy that has COVID is down for 7 or so. And then the one guy, he wasn't around the other ones. He kind of kept to himself. And good thing about it is he's not quarantined, but he's all like, I don't got nothing to do because you can't come to work. I'm like, sorry, bro. What do you want me to? It's Prime's
hey,
fault. It's not mine. I would be there if I could.
welcome to trucking. There's going to be a lot of hurry and wait. You might as well just get used to it.
Yeah, I'm about to detention stamp this too. I'm getting my detention paid.
Skeletor, Erica's Ace Lease coming back. Yes. Skeletor, go watch the previous video on this channel for the overview. At least as of today, August 9th, a week or two from now, it could change. But as of today, an announcement is coming at the end of September or early October about the program details. And I was told that as soon as that announcement comes, you should be able to start ordering Lease Purchase for 4 months out. So 2024 Freightliners, I think, are going to be the first ones available. JDQ says, Twisted, what's the best part in your eyes about being a PSD only trainer?
That you don't have to sleep in a moving truck. I don't have to sleep and find out that I'm fat between my two toes. I know I'm fat there. That's what I always tell people. Man, when you're in a moving truck trying to sleep, you find all the places that you're fat, like real quick. So I think the best part is knowing that I don't have to figure out that I'm even fatter than I really am by
so
jiggling
true.
all around.
That is so true. A lot of us are going to relate to that. That's so true.
I have people all the time send me a message from that comment. Like, they'll see it on a video and they'll put a message in the comments and it'll be like, bro, my toes jiggle between them too. I've got fat there also. And I'm like, yeah, told you.
Hey, trucking has taught me what it feels like to have your boobs jiggle, for sure.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Peg leg, evening gents, Twisted.
You ever get some tassels and see if you can spin them around on your nipples or anything?
That's funny, man. That's funny, especially in a Freightliner.
Yeah.
Evening gents, Twisted, you're not allowed to have Rona. Let's see, Jerry Garcia,
Yeah.
How can I invest in your Bitcoins? Well, first of all, I'm not a financial advisor, and that's a question. That's a short question with a lot of long answers. Bitcoin's tricky right now. JDQ, heck, are worrying about your trainee almost rolling the truck like I had happen. Yeah, TNT is...
Jesus did not take the wheel for you that night, because I say whenever I go to sleep on TNT, I pray and say, Jesus, take the wheel tonight. And Jesus was not there for you, JDQ. He was probably on a lunch break during that time.
John St. Clair, one more lease question. Any changes in choices for trucks? No. In fact, they're probably going to be more limited, unfortunately.
Oh.
I mean, I think it's only going to be... Look, right now you can only order a Freightliner on standard lease. So I don't see why it's going to be any different for Lease Purchase. I think you're only going to be able to order a Freightliner. My money don't jiggle.
That's not good for that peep gang, man.
Jesse says, that's funny. Gonna be a real sus moment when a Prime driver comes out saying they've got the monkeypox. Oh boy, not gonna go there. Kenworth, St. Clair, not yet. Okay, so we're down at the end of the comments. We're right at an hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Anything you want to add, Twisted, before you jump?
Hit the like button down there. There's 20 likes on there, and there's like 100 people in here.
Yeah, come on, guys. You got like 60 seconds. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. And again, every Tuesday night, right about this time, I'm going to be doing a stream. Next Thursday, I'll be in Springfield. I'm going to bring your hoodie. You don't want to wear it right now, but I'll bring your hoodie.
I'll be off. Yeah, I definitely don't want to wear it right now. But I'll be back to the pad Friday, so I'll try to remember to bring the driver lineup rug to you.
Awesome.
That thing's nice. It's awesome.
Yeah, you know that was handmade.
Yeah, he told me when he gave it to me. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name on here, but awesome guy. We talked a whole bunch. I was hoping to get him as a student, but I didn't. Well, I'll let you in this because I know you got to get back to the baby and the family. So, subscribe to Driver Lineup or Drive to Thrive, and I'm out of here.
All right, man. Thanks for jumping on. You guys make sure, click the link down below to go visit Twisted Big D's channel as well. Have a good night, man. Thanks for jumping in.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I've known Twisted Big D for, man, years. Guy is hardcore out there on the pad, and I've known a lot of his students too. In fact, every person I know, except for one, I think, that was a Twisted Big D PSD trifected. I think I know one who failed one time, and I know a lot of his. I not know, but I know I've talked to a lot of his students, and all but one trifected. So let's see what else we got real quick. While you guys are hitting a thumbs up, we're at 29. Come on, there's way more than 29 people live right now. Give me some thumbs up real quick before we close this out. I need to buy a few more hoodies. Gonna go live singing Let It Go from Frozen after the stream. Reverend, that was hilarious. I was next to Jenna when and she was playing that video. I'm like, what the hell is that? So anyway, wrapping it up. We're right at an hour. Thank you guys so much for joining in tonight. As always, when I get to Springfield next week, I'll do a truck tour on the new truck, and I'm going to be running some freight down here to Texas to get back home. So I talked to my new driver this morning. He's going to let me interview him for YouTube. So I'll make quite a few videos when we're up there. I'm going to ask Success Leasing a couple questions, and I'll try to get you guys as much content as possible while up in Springfield and while on the way down. I definitely want to, who was it? Somebody asked me to do a night video at a rest area for old time's sake. You guys know, going back in the day on this channel, I used to do videos most nights at like 2:33 in the morning at a rest area on my 30-minute break. So someone was like, you got to do a rest area video in the middle of the night just for old time's sake. So I'll try to do that. That was funny to me. But anyway, thank you guys so much. As always, be safe, make good decisions, drive to thrive. Talk with you guys soon.